You are listening to The Beauty Beat with Francesca Alexander. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the bad girl's guide to invoicing. I love that phrase, the bad girl. For me, bad girls get paid upfront and get away with a lot. If that makes me a bad girl, getting mine first, then I'm all in. Bad girls have more fun because they are out for their pleasure, full stop. In this episode, we talk about invoicing clients in your pleasure.
This particular call is focused on how we bill our clients, how we make them accountable for billing, and most importantly, billing ahead of time before the service. I think I'll start there. Why is it important? I think we've all been in a situation where I'll just speak from my experience. When I started my business and I was a consultant, one of the toughest things I had to do was do an invoice. I just, to create one, to have a due date on one, to persist on the payment. This is something that I've never had to deal with. I mean, in sales, it's pretty an easy transaction. You get a product, you get the money back. Done that for years, totally comfortable with that. But then I had to switch gears and do that for my services. My product was me. Holy smokes. So talk about like a totally different level, a totally different sort of feelings that were surrounded. That was actually really surprising to me. I've always been kind of, let's just say, like to be kind to myself, I had a little bit of an ego when it came to my products or services or what I delivered. Pretty like, hey, I'm one of the best people. When I was a makeup artist, I knew I was one of the best ones out there, and I had no problem charging what I charged because it was of true value, and I always over-delivered. I always, was very punctual, so that service got it. Totally feel good about charging what I did when I was a makeup artist. Then I switched gears into marketing, social media, PR, and now I had to essentially charge in a different sort of space. It was a different product and really brought up a lot of self-worth issues, which was really surprising. And I mean really surprising, where I did not see it coming. I did not know I was going to have such issue with it at all. Like, completely just dumbfounded by it, because what happened is that it started to roll over and manifest in ways that I didn't even see possible. Like, for one thing, going back on billing people, that seems pretty straightforward and pretty simple. However, it isn't. What I decided to do was to look at my money issues. I had no idea I had any. Well, I wasn't conscious of it. I mean, we all have some at some level. I had no idea it was going to roll over to my business. Like, who saw that coming? So I started reading a book by Barbara Stanley called Overcoming Under-Earning, and it completely transformed my business when it came for me to billing clients. Now, so this is the structure. What I wanted to do is all of the things that I did daydream as my first step. So my daydream was that I got clients, but they paid in advance for my services, so I could get out of the space where I'm like chasing after people. Ooh, it's the beginning of the month. I got to send all these invoices out, and I got to follow up and make sure that they paid because services were rendered. And I did not like that. That didn't feel good. And I always go back to what feels good is right for my business. So I wanted to create a model where people pay first and then they get me. So a lot of my corporate clients pay a month in advance for me. When they get started, what I do is I have a verbal and written contract with people. They have to work with me 90 days, and it's a two-pronged thing about this. The first thing is it's total reputation management. If I don't deliver a good product, my reputation's on the line. So in order for that to happen, for us to have some real strong benchmarking efforts, there has to be a beginning day, and it has to last for 90 days. So I have something tangible I can show to the client that shows them, hey, you know what? We did make progress. This is where we started, and this is where we ended up. That was one. The second thing was, for 3 months, it's like, okay, all of our time is valuable, and it's kind of like that whole retainer philosophy. You want to make sure that you are working with somebody for 3 months, and you don't either have to chase around for new clients, or in my case, I just don't have the time. I have so many product development projects on my end that I can't spend or spare time for people that are not seriously, are going to work with me, full stop. So I have to make it in a space where, all right, you're working with me for 3 months. This is what your deliverables are as well, and we'll get into another conversation. All of my clients have deliverables. Usually, we have to go ahead and shell out and show, hey, this is our deliverables as a paid service. This is what we have to deliver to the client. Well, for me, I really go into it and tell people this is a collaboration, and it's the project and the end result is only going to be as good as the collaboration. So if you want me to help build your website and help you manage something, I'm just saying this, I don't build websites, so, but if I were to do something like that or do some project management with that, you have to give me high-res images, you have to give me content, you have to give me other things that need to happen in a timely amount of time so I can deliver the goods. So that has to be very clear with a lot of my clients. And part of that, which really helps put, fire underneath them, is I just spent, a month's of fees to Francesca. I better get my act together. I need to start working now. And that always, I call it a pre-vacation day sort of model, where, when you go on vacation, the 2 days before, you're working like mad, and you put so much work into 2 days, and then you go off for a week. And you're really, really productive on those 2 days. It's the same sort of philosophy when you give to clients. You want to be able to put that fire underneath them and have them show, that they need to turn around stuff and they need to work quickly. So that's essentially the model there in terms of getting people to pay in advance. I definitely put all of that in a structured email. I have a template. So people ask, it's great. Now, there's another thing about that. Now, some people in the beginning, as all entrepreneurs should, they should check out their budget, and I'm not hating here. I totally get it. But there is a spot where they're like, I'm not sure if I can, do that kind of money right now. I have so much projects, I don't know, am I going to get a result? And all of these, natural questions that have when we pay for a service. What I would say to that is that you have to follow up with people, and you also got to get the same potential client on your newsletter list. So you're always in their face. You're always sharing fresh content weekly, maybe even twice a week. What I do is I'm doing a new structure where I give out a blog, and then on the weekend I touch base with everybody and show people, hey, this is what you missed on the blog. My aim there is to get into people's face. And I also come from the e-commerce world, so I know that Saturday and Sunday are great days for people to buy my product. So you want to make sure you slide underneath. So either my sweet spot for me is like an AM Saturday newsletter or an afternoon Sunday newsletter. Those are the two ones that really turn around and do very well. Okay, so what you want to do with the people that are kind of stalling, and I'm definitely not a car salesperson, I'm what I call a realistic salesperson, meaning that sometimes you may want that client that's, let's just say a $5,000 client might be hanging out on your website and your newsletters for, 8, 12 months. And that's a realistic thing. For me, when I had to spend a lot of money on products or info products or buying a plane ticket to look at a conference, I had to hang out with that person for a year for me to have that know, like, and trust factor. And I don't see it being any different anywhere else. So with that said, to follow up with somebody that's asking about your products and inquiring about your value. You know, I go the psychological route, and I really spent a lot of time with consumer behavior. In particular, I am an expert with women, and I'll tell you a really short story. It's like I have plenty of experience selling to women, and it's not about the dollar, it's about the feeling. It's that simple. So, you know, I often talk about my experience in the beauty industry and in the e-commerce world. How did I train other sales professionals to reach people through a phone? And it was very simple. It's just that it translates also on online. That woman wants to be heard. And if you're, you know, hopefully you're a reputable service, I'm sure you are, you're listening to this, but, you know, I'm just saying in general, people take advantage of that, or people actually listen to the client and provide the value that they are seeking. So with that said, I used to train people to sell skincare over line actually it was online through emails, and then they would do a follow-up consultation on the phone. And, you know, the questions that I asked were questions that pulled information out of that client. And the first question I would ask is, what do you want to change about your skin? What a divine question. How great is that, right? If somebody just asked you and can actually have a plan with that. But what happens with that, depending on the emotional state of the consumer, that female is going to either, you know, is going to open up. It happens like 99.9% of the time. If she doesn't do it on this call, she's going to do it on her follow-up call. And it usually is, well, what do I want to change about my skin? I'm going through a divorce, meaning she's stressed out, right? My skin is just really ruddy. I might not be drinking enough water. And my skin's a mess. Okay, so what that translates to me is, as a skin health professional, is that she's dry, she's probably flaky, she's not eating well, she's probably drinking a little more alcohol than she should, she's drinking that more than water, she may have breakouts in her chin area because that's the stress region when we're really highly stressed. That's happening. So then I was like the best at what I did because I was also somebody that would give advice and also send, if I just read a great book that was on audio or a real book, I would send it to the client that would help with their whatever it is that they shared. These were $800 sales just to get started, $600 to $800 to get started with the full regimen. And for me to get loyalty, I felt that I needed to connect at a different level, whether it was sending additional products that maybe they didn't really see. And that's how I built my strong clientele, because I wanted the loyalty. What I knew was happening is that my brand that I was working with was not only going to be online, but they were growing their business. So that same skincare line was going to show up at Four Seasons, Nordstrom's, other locations that were going to be highly competitive that you can pick up. I needed a reason for people to follow up with me. So when I knew that their face wash was going to be going out in 3 months, they got a call from me, they got an email from me. All they had to do was reply to the email and say, yeah, charge my credit card on file. Boom, got it. Now I can send out their $40 cleanser. So it's a rhythm. It's about knowing the consumer, feeling and sussing out what it is. Like if you're a trainer, understand, really just sit down. And I know that you guys know this in your business. You know your client. I know my Hustle and Glow client to a T. If you're, going back to you being a trainer, you're going to know that your new client that you just signed on, that it was just January, it's fresh for her, she wants to lose the weight finally, she's completely gung-ho, and then week 2 and 3 happens. And what happens with that client? How does she fall off the scale, literally? No, how does she, I'm laughing because this is me, I have to constantly find ways for me to get motivated, all year round, not just January. But anyway, what you want to do is do the anatomy of your client. Check out when she falls off or he falls off the scale, so to speak, and we need to get them back on the radar. How do we do that? So really developing a program that's going to help support week 2 and week 3. The best support is going to help you maintain that client. If they did not get a reoccurring subscription fee from you, that from PayPal, it's going to automatically charge them, and that you're manually billing them, it's your responsibility to hold that client. They can, sign a contract, but there are chances that that client may fall off and just not feel you and not want to go forward. We got to find ways to ensure that they're there, that they're completely supported, and that they can go forward with you and your program, whether it's coaching, whether you're a web designer, it doesn't matter. You got to hold them within those 90 days. You got to make sure that you totally know the anatomy of the client. So look at those 12 weeks that you're going to be working with your client, and literally get into that mindset of your client and think about how they're feeling on week 1. How are they on week 2, 3, 4? Week 6 is a great week because usually the implementation is happening. They're all light and fluffy. They might start feeling exhaustion of the product or whatever it is the process is. So if you're a wellness coach and you're trying to get their nutrition in order, week 6 is a very strong week for you to revise and the plan. A lot of these people, a lot of wellness coaches, what they do is they're very specific with how they treat their clients going forward, because they know that they have to, this is the magic word here, customize to keep that client involved. So think about that. Really check out each week, check to see where they are. What I do in my program, too, my Hustle and Glow digital program, that is a self-at-home study course. It's really super cool. You guys should check it out. It's at hustleandglow.com, or if you go to Social Global Grind, you just hit the Hustle and Glow tab, and it'll tell you everything about it. But the cool thing about that program is even though we're not interacting live, so to speak, if you're taking the at-home course, I still check in with you every midweek. So every midweek you're going to get a email from you, checking in, making sure you're okay, giving you tips to move and go forward. I have all my clients really concentrate on not beating themselves up for getting it. One of the classic things is it's like, oh, I'm so ignorant about this stuff in social media. I'm not sure how to do it. And that is the most common statement from a lot of people. And what I say to them, it's like, let's just rephrase that. You haven't discovered it yet. Of course you're savvy. Like, you're savvy enough to find me. You're savvy enough to find an answer to all of the stuff that's bugging you. Like, let's not take it away here. Like, I'm here to tell you, screw the shame, get in the game, keep going. The fact that you're even persistent is huge. So, change the mindset a little bit here. Definitely. And also encourage your other clients, too. Like, let them know and acknowledge every step that they're at. It helps a lot in client retention. You want to retain that client to go on to your next product that you're going to launch, and who knows what that is, right? So, be persistent, keep going. One of the other things that I think that you guys should all check out and be really helpful, if you are a business and you don't have a lot of time to do the invoicing scenario with a lot of people, check out PayPal.com and look at the subscription button, the merchant button. And the cool thing with that is that you can modify it, and you can change it. You can put your name of the program in there. It's so sweet when you get like a link to pay for the product and you feel automatically safe as a consumer to pay for that. So if you're going to do a 90-day course, check out that subscription button. That way you don't even have to ask. It is automatically billed. There's actually a trial feature on that. So if you're doing like the free e-course in the beginning of your said paid course, I would do that. That's like kind of a sweet deal. Just go ahead and make sure that you have that trial period going. You get the free courses they can access immediately just for signing on. You can automate it for sure doing a membership website, and it's super easy. It's the thing about entrepreneurs is that like we get in our heads, and we get in our heads to the point where we almost feel like paralyzed. Oh, because we overthink things, and it's got to be perfect, and it's it has to look this way, and aesthetically it's got to, really have these colors. Like, don't get in your head, make money now. Just make the simplicity of it. I have to tell you, when I did my mentorship program, the first cycle was all like, I had an idea of it. I did the framework for it. I actually wrote it out. I had some structure. But the content that I was going to be sharing with each person was almost like on a one-on-one basis stage. From there, it developed into a program, and it's actually happening on a broader scale. So what I wanted to do, too, and, to slightly get off topic here, is I wanted to scale my vision for everybody to really get all of this implementation that I do with my mentorship program clients and do it at a broader scale and do it in 12 months. Let me just say, mentorship programs are great. I've been in several. I think they're amazing. But it's like a goal. It's a goal, yes, but it's a soul-wrenching process. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I invest in myself? I'm going to invest in myself because this is exactly what I need. And you go through this whole roller coaster of emotions, and I want to take that out of this next product. And this next product is called AMP. And AMP is a monthly mentorship and mastermind program that we all do together. It's all live all the time, and we actually have discussions right on a Facebook group that's private and that you actually have to request to join. So there are people that are on the program and that are not on the program. The cool thing is that, and I want you guys to use this idea and concept, because what I love about Facebook group, and I can't shut up about it, is that it's like a live webinar 24/7 talking about your product, your brand, and who you are, and getting to know the members of the group. There's nothing sweeter than that. Reverse engineer that idea. Please use it for yourself, totally. And while we're doing this program, we're sharing information that is on, the AMP program. The AMP program, for people that have paid for the membership, are going to learn how to do the stuff that I'm talking about step by step. And the Facebook group that is free they're going to learn what to do. So it's just that webinar structure. So the Facebook group is going to learn what to do. The paid members are going to learn how to do it step by step. Huge difference, and definitely builds a community. So I invite you guys to look at that model and check it out for yourself. It also is great to help you establish new clients. People are going to start digging your content if they're on, and they're just seeing you provide content each day. It's like great advertisement, really easy. I'm so big on bootstrapping, period, and not paying for anything in addition to. Like, I am the queen of that for sure, and I understand what it means to have a really tight budget as an entrepreneur. And again, that's why I developed AMP, and I want to reach people at a global, broader, scalable level. And so that's why I invite you guys to check it out for sure. And we will be doing more tips like this, financial tips, how to change the mindset. I want to go into this idea so much deeper and pull out, and get rid of that block that we have about promoting ourselves, about billing intelligently to our clients. And not apologizing for any of it, just really going through the motions, creating and scaling that movement that is you, that is your brand, and doing it in a very successful way. Thank you so much for listening. This is Francesca with hustleandglow.com and notably socialglobalgrind.com, where you can check out the blog and get a lot more content there for you. I hope to see you there. Bye for now.